And welcome back. We are getting ready to venture off into our first segment. Very important, then again, the Belize Audubon Society and Reef Protector Program. In with us is Eli Romero, who is a conservation officer at the Belize Audubon Society. We also have Britney Cruz, who is a fourth form student, and she's also a reef protector. And we have Vladimir Gonzalez. He's a third form student, and he is actually a reef protector as well. Guys, I'm loving the shirts. Good morning and welcome.
Good morning.
Reef protecting program. You know, there might not be a lot of people drawn to it because there are not a lot of people who actually venture off into the reef and knows the real importance of it. We talk about it so many times in schools, and we know for a fact that we've got the largest living barrier reef, the second largest in the world. So there's a lot that we know, but to protect it might not be what a lot of people are actually thinking. Talk to us about reef protecting.
Sure. The thing is that a lot of people have many different perspectives of what marine protected areas management is. We try to have a very holistic and comprehensive program that involves both education, marine protected areas management and research. But a large component is also working with the stakeholders. A lot of the work that Belize Audubon does, which is, as you can see, Half Moon Cay Natural Monument and Blue Hole Natural Monument. Blue Hole is basically the face of Belize anywhere you go. Yeah. And a lot of people haven't even been there, and they don't know what it takes to manage these protected areas because of we're working, many people say we're working in isolation. It's just because maybe we're not out there as much to educate. Yeah. So a lot of the work that we're trying to do now is environmental education. Part of this is totally a part of the day-to-day management of the protected area, enforcement, research and monitoring, but education has been a big part of the Belize Audubon Society in recent years. Simply because we have done a lot of work and a lot of people don't know about what we're doing. So that's the idea now, that we can go out there, be out there with the communities and with the research and monitoring programs. We involve the reef protectors here, whereby we're trying to bring in students from our stakeholder communities, Shunush, Copperbank, and Sarteneja, so that they can know a little bit more about the work that we do.
Now, I want to talk because Belize Audubon Society, like several of the environmental organizations, works directly with the individual communities that are affected oftentimes, or rely, I should say, on the marine resources. And so the need to protect them is a very direct, it has a direct impact on their own livelihoods. Sarteneja, for example, and Shunush, where these two students are from, obviously this is a well-known fishing community as well. When you create a program like the Reef Protector Program to work with young people, is your aim to be able to help them want to participate in sustainable development and perhaps have them take the message home? Or is there another objective that you're looking at?
Well, one of we have a couple of main objectives, and basically one, we're trying to get them involved and have hands-on experience with marine protected areas management professionals. We're also trying to just raise environmental awareness about the different protected areas we co-manage and directly their parents or families depend on for their livelihoods. Yeah. We're also trying to create some sort of stewardship. It's always, we're trying to be the ones running the show, running the marine protected areas management, but it's much effective when you have participation from the individuals, from the communities, singing the same song that you're singing. And at the end of the day, we also want them to be leaders in their communities. So instead of us leading the way within their communities, they can do it. And then just there's a lot of monitoring and research that we do that these kids ended up being part of, so they can learn the research and monitoring protocols and sampling methodologies that we use, so that they can use that to be more marketable when they come out from high school or sixth form.
So let's talk to Vladimir and Britney about why you chose to be involved in the Reef Protector Program. Let's start there. Britney?
I started this Reef Protector Program when Miss Mr. Romero and Ms. Clark visited my school, and they introduced this reef protecting program and talked about us how we were going to get to visit the Blue Hole. I'm a marine lover, and as I heard that, I was willing to go for this new experience.
Oh, so it was the trips that appealed to you first.
Actually,
That's fine. That would appeal to me too.
Yes.
And how about you, Vladimir?
As she said, Mr. Eli and Ms. Varsha Clark went to our high school and had a meeting with second farm and third farm, and so that's how we got to know. And me and my friend got very enthusiastic about this program because it was about Blue Hole, visiting the Great Blue Hole.
Oh,
So if it
that's the hook,
Yeah, that's the
right? That's a good hook. And then what happened afterwards? What are some of the things that you have learned through your participation in the Reef Protector program?
I have learned the importance of protecting the marine life and the importance of having these things, that because as we live in fishing communities, we depend from it.
Yeah, that's for you, Brittany.
I can strongly say that I learned the value of conserving these protected marine parks like Half Moon Cay and Blue Hole, because how he said we depend a lot on these things, and not only that, but this will help our entire country for future generations. And I also learned a lot, like for example, we did beach profiling, we also did island mapping, we did going on boats, on the fishermen boats, and we measured the catch of the day and those things. We also went visiting all those places.
What's beach profiling? You get to lie down on the beach and see how it looks from there? No?
Beach profiling is how we go around the beach and measure how is this the sand level, for if accretion or erosion happens.
Oh,
You know,
Yeah.
one of the things that is very important, like you mentioned, Eli, is that we want to continue with making the noise about protecting the reef. And back to the students, being that you guys are a part of it, you've got friends who've got friends, and I'm sure you've talked about your experience with your friends. Do you think that you actually reached out to some of them and give them the ability to turn over to what you're doing?
Maybe yes, sir, because I have talked to some of them, and I know that they will go and spread the word to their parents or their family members that are fishermen.
And for you, Brittany?
Yeah, of course, this will help them a lot, and also sharing this great experience that we learned a lot. And it's not only learning, but also knowing these places, and they feel very good. They say, I wish we would go there too and learn these things.
What's it like taking the message home? Do you have fishermen in your families? And what do they say in response to the information that you've learned?
Most of my family are fishermen, for example, and even in my community, all of them depend on fishing in this, right? So, yeah, I think that they really, because if we don't protect them, then what will happen to them? What will we eat in the future?
Yeah.
There will be none left.
I know that if I tell my uncle or my family members, I know they will be very thankful that someone of their family can tell them about this, and by myself I know that I am spreading the word.
Yeah, that's it's so nice to know that you guys are reaching out. But there's a rhetoric that is always being said, especially by young people who don't really know, to say when there's garbage in their municipality, oh, there's somebody to pick that up. Then we're trying to protect the reef. Oh, Mother Nature knows exactly how to do this. What do you say to these people who have that kind of mentality in terms of, you know what, these things protect themselves?
Well, there's a lot of people that are very religious, and they would say, you know what, even in religion they tell you, you have to help yourself.
Yeah.
You can't expect God to help you do everything. It's the same thing with what we have in our natural resources. It can manage by itself to a certain level, but the amount of pressures that we have been putting on our natural resources, their natural environment can't cope with all these changes. And you know, climate change has been a huge issue.
Yeah.
And we keep putting pressures on these natural resources, like fishing. You go to these communities and you ask them, why is it that you don't catch as many conch and lobster as before? And many of them will tell you there are too many fishermen. So one of the things that we're trying to do is not that we're against having fishermen, totally not the case. What we're trying to do is give the fishermen an alternative, especially the ones coming up. Because if you keep having more and more fishermen, and you have identified as too many fishermen being a problem, and if you keep adding more fishermen, then your problem just keeps getting bigger. So through this Reef Protector program, which we started a couple of years ago actually, we revamped it this year. The first time we had it was more environmental awareness, taking out only on field trips. This year we had the same field trips, going out to Half Moon Cay, looking at protected areas management. But then we also, what these guys did is an internship. They went out there, did 2 weeks, out at Half Moon Cay. We thought that they weren't going to cope for 2 weeks, but
you camped there for 2 weeks?
They wanted to go back as the day after that they came back. But they participated in the monitoring and research program. So they did conch surveys, they did seagrass monitoring, and then we also took them on the boats, the fishing boats that are out there. We took them to do a measurement that's called catch per unit effort. So basically we go and we measure whatever they catch for the day. But we saw a very positive feedback from the fishermen by simply seeing kids from their communities doing what we do. So I think that is a big step forward in how we work.
This is also great exposure to the children for potential future careers. How many do you feel inclined now to maybe look at a career in conservation after this?
Yes.
I want to camp at Half Moon as my job.
And we're actually expanding. Like I said, we started with just awareness, then we did internship this year. The following year, this coming year, we actually have a little bit more funding that we managed to secure. We're expanding the 2 weeks internship to 4 weeks, and we're going to be picking a couple more students. This is through another funding agency, the MAR Fund. This one is funded through the GCFI, which is the Gulf Caribbean Fisheries Institute. The second phase is the second year is also funded by them, but we're also going to add in another step to it, another level. They're going to get dive certified. They're going to learn in detail all the monitoring methodologies and protocols we use in our regular monitoring and research program, and then they will be able to participate. So they will be more experienced now. They will be more marketable. When they come out, they will be able to say somebody needs somebody to work in collecting data for research and monitoring. They'll have all the skills.
How many students are a part of this program?
So we started with 16 students from the 3 communities. We managed to get 14 of them out to Half Moon Cay for the field trip. 4 of them were part of the internship program, which are two of these, Vladimir and Britney are 2 of them. For next year, we want to have 8. So we want to expand a little bit more over time and see how that goes.
What communities do you have the programs running?
So it's Shunush, Copperbank, and Sartineja, which are 3 fishing communities up in northern Belize. And these are people who regularly use not only Lighthouse Reef, which is where we have our co-management of natural monuments, but they also use almost the entire reef. So you can see all those sailboats, the majority of them are from those 3 fishing communities. And that's where these kids come from. So we want to build up the capacity of them and their community so that, again, they can have an alternative to fishing. Because it's been hard, man. You talk to fishermen, they're catching less and less all the time. For more time, they have to be out there to catch the same amount or even less.
It's true. Now, I want to hear about this internship on Half Moon Cay. Tell us about it.
Well, we were there for 2 weeks learning and having some experience, and what we did out there was very amazing, and I learned a lot. We had turtle watch at the night snorkel. Every day we went to snorkel, we went to the boats, fishing boats, and I was glad to see some of my uncles and family members fishing out there, and I was glad that they were happy to see me too. And and I learned a lot them being out there with Mr. Eli and the others, and I am very thankful for this program.
Wow. Britney?
And no TV, no electricity. How did we manage without that?
We could manage that because during the day we were out there. We don't even want a phone that moment. We forget everything. I mean,
So you can live without your phone?
To a certain extent?
For a short time.
One of the questions was actually, what did you, about like halfway I asked them, tell me something that you're not comfortable or you don't like about so far out here. Like, we like everything but no Facebook for a week already.
It's a good break for you. But go ahead, you were saying?
how I was saying, when we were out there, we don't even mind about that at that moment. We're just enjoying and especially learning because my part, I really learned a lot. And this experience will take me, I guess, for my entire life. And I can also help in my community by sharing this information that I know that will help them. For example, in the importance of protecting this marine
Resource.
See anything that amazed you, like a big fish or something that caught your eye and say, my goodness, this is the reason why we have to take care of the reef.
Yeah, what caught my eye also was when the turtle came out and nest. We were able to see that. That was really great.
Did you see when they hatched?
Yes.
And the little ones are trying to get out?
Really?
Yeah,
That
that's
was
cool.
amazing.
Yeah.
You know
What about the first experience at the Blue Hole?
Wow, well, that was great. The first time there, you know, we didn't want to move from there.
Really?
You snorkeled, right?
Yes,
Yes,
snorkeled.
it was very nice.
In the Blue Hole?
You didn't get nervous when you just saw that deep blue hole?
It was happiness.
He made me take them. He was the one who was checking. I need to go to the Blue Hole 10 times before we leave. And we actually did accomplish that.
And Half Moon Cay is gorgeous. To wake up to that every morning, that must be really great.
Yes, the birds, the booby birds out there.
Yeah.
Bridget.
My goodness. You know, I'm sure you guys have some jealous friends right now because you guys went up there and it was excellent. So
now you get to post the photos on Facebook, don't you?
You know, one of the greatest ways to actually get young people to learn is actually by having them experiencing the practical part of things. You know, for some folks, doing the theoretical part of work might be a little strenuous to them, but putting them out in the field is actually where you see them flourish.
Yeah.
When it comes now to school, one of the things that they do, or actually their main goal, is to actually put children out there for careers. Now, this is definitely one of them. Do you guys work along with a lot of schools throughout the country? Who are these schools? And work along with schools to eventually invite them to build career marine biologists and so on?
So this Reef Protector program is just one of the programs under the education unit at the Belize Audubon Society. I'm pretty sure you guys have had the Reef and Varsha and a couple others from or our organization. They've also had an entire summer of summer camps. So apart from working with our northern communities, which we work from the primary schools to the high schools, we also work with a lot of other schools from our buffer communities. So we have several protected areas we co-manage. So we try to work a lot with the communities that surround those protected areas, but we're also not limited to those protected areas. We do a lot of school visits to the schools in Belize City, out district, Orinjua, Corozal, and it's amazing how many schools call all the time that they want us to go and give presentations about the environmental education, about marine protected areas. I think Audubon has created a name for almost everything that deals with the environment. We get calls for a lot of, if a crocodile is somewhere and that they see, they call Audubon, or they see any bird that they don't know about, they call us. And a lot of it, we can help in a certain way, but most of the time, sometimes we have to address it and send it to the relevant authorities. But once it comes to environmental education, we have our personnel from our staff that do a lot of this.
Yeah.
There's just so much we can do because we don't have an infinite amount of staff that can go everywhere.
Yeah.
So we try as much as we can to be present as much as we can throughout the country, but you know, there's only so much we can do.
Definitely.
Yeah. But you can always pass them on to relevant authorities or organizations in their particular area as well. Now, what happens with this cohort of reef protectors? Do they still participate in the program this upcoming school year, or are you looking for new participants?
Yes, so we're looking at continuing to work with these students to continue to build on what we've already started for this year. So last year we did a lot of environmental awareness and we did a lot of field activities. We're still going to have a little bit of refresher of the environmental awareness and the field activities, but now we want to take them to take a little bit more of the lead when we go to the communities. So we're having a set of activities where we'll be getting the students to be part of these environmental awareness sessions we have in the communities. One of the activities we have, we call it community sharing activities. So we go to the community and we share a little bit of what we're doing, why we're doing it, and how we're doing it. But we want the community to hear all of this from them. It's much, like I said, it's much easier and for them to catch your attention and do something about it if they hear it from somebody from your community. And that's going to be one of the focus of the program for this coming year, because we're going to increase their presence and the awareness of the community through them. And then we're also going to be doing a lot of, like I said, the next step in terms of research and monitoring and teaching them a lot of more stuff, diving. And
so
protocols.
You want to build them into your educators as well, right? So let's give them a test. Right? You may not know this, but there are many people in Belize who have not had the chance to go out to the Blue Hole. It's still on their bucket list. They still want to do it, but they haven't gotten a chance. And they haven't seen the reef as closely as you have or learned about it as extensively as you have. So what would you tell the wider public about why it's important that we protect our reef?
It is very important for all of us to protect the reef because it's a very beautiful thing that God created and that we all must take care of it, and because we all depend from it, our families and all our communities.
Yeah, and we must protect it because what will happen to Belize if we don't protect it? We will end up with nothing afterwards, and it's a great, tourists, fishermen, all of us, and we are blessed. I guess we're really blessed of having this.
You know, one of the things in protecting the reef, besides man, protecting or not litter or be careful how we drive around drive around the reef. There's this one thing that's to a certain extent damaging what we've got out there, and it's the infamous lionfish. What are we doing in eradicating these animals for the fact that they're actually consuming the little ones that when they get bigger we love? What are we doing? Have we taught these students how to eventually get rid of these animals?
So we have, I mean, not only us, but throughout the entire conservation groups in Belize, there has been a lot of programs whereby they're promoting the spearfishing of lionfish. And that's one way how we're trying to control the population. Belize is actually not doing bad in terms of how much lionfish we have in our waters. You go to other places like the Bahamas and Barbados, it's crazy how many lionfish. In this small area, you would probably have a couple hundred lionfish. Wow. Here in Belize, I think what has helped is a combination of things. We have large fish that can probably they're starting to predate on the lionfish. You go to a lot of these other Caribbean countries, they don't have many of the large fish. And a lot of the reason why we have these large fish is because of the regulations and laws that we have put in place over time, and the conservation work and hand-in-hand work with the fishing communities and the fishermen to maintain a balance between the amount of fish you have, the size of fish you have, because you go to places and you find a small parrotfish that has become an adult when he's just a kid. Here in Belize, it's very rare to find a little kid parrotfish to be an adult. And it's because we've given them time to grow. We have a lot of regulations that manage them and try to maintain them. So that has probably been a reason why we've been able to balance off the population of lionfish. I mean, it's not perfect, but I think we're better off than a lot of other countries in the region.
So for the people watching this, the young people watching this who say, I want to be a part of the Reef Protectors Program, they have to be from the 3 specific communities that you spoke about. Do they reach out to you, or do you wait, or do they wait until you go to the school?
Well, we end up going to the schools every year. We have a presence at these communities throughout the year. Apart from environmental education, we have a community outreach person that actually goes to the community and does a lot of this work. We try to follow a work plan whereby these are the dates that we go to the community and do all of the visits to the schools. And that's when we pass on the information of when it's time to apply. And these kids had to apply. They wrote an essay for what, why they wanted to be part of the program. So all of that was really helpful, I think, in building up their capacity. And we're hoping to continue that. We'll be back in the communities, not only now, but we're hoping to continue to do it in the future.
All right. Well, wonderful job. And I guess you guys will be looking forward to another round of the Reef Protector Program. And you'll still balance it out with fourth form work as well? Okay, guys. Well, thank you so much for stopping in and telling us about this program. We can definitely hear from the students how much they've taken in through this experience. So it seems that it is definitely affecting the communities in the way that you intended. So best of luck with your upcoming cohort, and congratulations to you too. And yes, we're all jealous that you got 2 full weeks at Half Moon Key and we didn't, right? That's the best summer. Thank you so much. We're going to go ahead and take a break. When we come back, we'll be joined by representatives of Digicel, so stay tuned.